We are live in most of the places. Let's see here. Just grabbing the last of the links. All right. Looks like we're good. I think it's just waiting on the YouTube stream, but everything else is live. Welcome everybody. We are back. Been a little while. It's been 2 weeks. Obviously, I was out of town in Croatia for the High Fest event where I spoke about INLEO and all the things we're building. And obviously also teased creator subscriptions and mentioned that they would be going live shortly after I returned. So obviously now we're back in the full swing of things. So creator subscriptions are on the way, and we'll get into that later. Eric, do you want to give us a little market breakdown and talk about the current state of Bitcoin, crypto in general? Just give us the overview of what's going on while I get the rest of the streams announced and set up.
Yeah, definitely. Welcome everyone. And yeah, it's been 2 weeks since we had the latest Wenson show, aka the INLEO AMA, or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it's the AMA and it's also known as the Wenson show. But I'm looking at the Bitcoin chart, and of course, nothing that we say is financial advice. Of course, you have to do your own research, and nobody knows what's going to happen in the future. Whoever tells you they know, like you can try to predict it, or you can try to find trends, or you can try to find patterns. But in the end, the market will do what the market wants to do. But we are, I think it's like 7% since last week. Yeah, it's 8.5% since last Tuesday, and things are looking pretty how you call it? I don't really want to call it bullish yet because we are still trying to break. Like we had a higher low for the first time a couple of weeks ago for in the past 6 months. So we are not off the hook yet, but things are looking positive. You could call it positive, yeah. And you know, I have seen a lot of rumors, and we actually talked about it in our alpha chat, that actually anyone with more than 50,000 Leo power could get in, because it's a perk of being a Leo investor. But we were talking in our alpha chat about how things are looking bullish, but some people are expecting the Bitcoin chart to go down to 50,000, maybe even 44,000. 44,000 is a number sent around, and a lot of analysts and big accounts on X that I kind of respect. They are talking about that because if you get rid of all of the longs that were set in the past few months since we climbed from what was it, 40,000 to 72,000. So there were a lot of longs, and there are still a lot of longs and a lot of open interest in the market. So you could get rid of that, and then we fully send to the upside. But others are saying that it's just gonna be a bear trap, and that's not gonna happen. It's not like the 50,000 liquidity and the 45,000 liquidity is going to get front run. So I really have no idea. What I'm doing is I'm just holding on spot and trying to diamond hand whatever I have. I am not trading right now. I am not buying anything. Yeah, of course I have my petty cash for meme coins. But that's basically it. I'm just holding and waiting.
Yeah, it's an interesting time for all the markets. What I've been watching and talking about a lot is the ETH Bitcoin spread trade. So that's kind of where a lot of my attention has been market wise. I'm pretty, it's actually had a little bit of a bounce recently. I think it's up like 5%. Talking about obviously the ETH Bitcoin pair. So basically what that means is that ETH is performing, or at least coming back a little bit. So we saw kind of a massive dip on ETH, and sentiment around it has been really bad. I actually wrote a blog post a couple weeks ago titled, is Ethereum in a death spiral? because that's what a lot of people have been talking about. And then you had that funny video of Vitalik. I know Eric saw that singing on stage. So people were saying that that was the bottom for Ethereum, which I thought was really funny. But yeah, I've been watching this spread trade and obviously participating in it. So converting some of my Bitcoin into Ethereum, I just think that, relatively speaking, this is a pretty solid place to convert, a little bit of the exposure. So that's where my focus has been roughly on the markets. Obviously, in dollar terms, altcoins haven't been doing very well. Bitcoin is doing okay. We're still obviously like, I don't know, 15, 18K off of the highs. So, Bitcoin's doing okay in USD terms. Altcoins have been bleeding for years now. So this has been a pretty rough market for most of us here. And then like I said, it's at some point the market turns. So we're all kind of watching as the halvening cycle plays out. And then, if you're positioning yourself in a certain way, then you might be rotating into alts. And that's kind of what I'm doing with this Ethereum spread trade. So that's just my general sentiment. Obviously, you never know what's going to happen. But looking historically at the Ethereum chart and the ETH BTC chart, I feel like this is a pretty solid place to get in. So I've been dollar cost averaging some of my Bitcoin over into Ethereum, and I think it could play out well. But outside of the general markets, you guys have a lot of questions. I already see a lot of you in the threadcast, so welcome back to the AMA. I know the last couple of weeks everyone's been asking where we've been. So obviously traveling. So I went to Hive Fest on Monday, obviously like the week before last. And then I didn't get back until almost Wednesday last week. So definitely excited to be back and get back to the regular programming for the AMA. And then Eric, do we have someone for Chain Chatter tomorrow?
Well, actually, I was trying to get so there's a big lore around the Thorchain ecosystem right now, because the recently doxed founder JP Thor, he announced that he's working on a wallet, and the wallet is gonna be Voltisig, which is basically, and to not bore you guys, what you do right now with crypto wallets is that you have a seed phrase, and then you have your own password on your computer or on your device, and you have a key that you can use to migrate wallets. And in order to approve all of the transactions, you have to either use your password or you have to use a dApp that lets you use that password for you, like a keychain. But Voltisig works around using devices to sign transactions. So there's no seed phrase, there's no passwords, there's no overly complicated stuff to approve transactions. So they announced they are merging with Thor Wallet, and I wanted to bring the founder. The founder of we already had one of the founders 2 weeks ago on Chain Chatter, and I wanted to bring the other one who's going to be the CEO of Voltisig. He still has to confirm if he's gonna come. He wants to, so if he doesn't come tomorrow, he will come next week. And but I already have a couple of people in line in case this guy doesn't come around. So yeah, the short answer to your question is yes, we do have someone, but I'm still waiting to see who we are having.
Yeah, that's fair. So at least we know we will be having a Chain Chatter. And I will work on getting that scheduled for tomorrow. And outside of that, we can kind of dive into the questions. I'm going through the threadcast already because you guys had some questions in there before we even went live. But I'll just talk about, while we kind of gather up some questions, I'll talk about creator subscriptions. So I mentioned it in my speech at Hive Fest. It's kind of one of the things that we're heavily focused on right now. I think it's going to be one of the best ways that we monetize the Leo ecosystem, for a lot of different reasons. One major one being, and this was kind of outlined in my presentation at Hive Fest, there's two problems that INLEO is aiming to solve. One of them is around monetization, and the other one is around censorship resistance. So, the tagline of my presentation was put everything on chain. So, INLEO is putting everything on the blockchain. And when you put everything on chain, you have two really interesting things that happen. You obviously have censorship resistance because things are on a blockchain. It's a public ledger, and it can't be censored, unless all nodes agree to censor something. So if you have a decentralized blockchain, which is what Hive is, your content won't get censored, just by nature of how a blockchain is built. And then the second piece of it is monetization. And in this crypto industry with blockchain, we have tokenization. So, one of the interesting parts of monetization, especially when it comes to a platform like INLEO, is that you're able to monetize at all levels. So even the smallest creators on the platform are able to earn crypto rewards, or rewards in general. Whereas on a normal platform, that obviously wouldn't even be possible. So, being that we're built on a blockchain, being that we have our own token, obviously called Leo, we're able to reward all creators, no matter how big or small you are. So on that aspect of monetization, the reward pool and is what kind of monetizes at the bottom up, and it's like that built-in monetization model, where obviously you give out upvotes, and those are the equivalent of likes, and then you're able to distribute rewards. That is an inflationary model, and if you actually go into the docs, you'll know that once the Leo token reaches a 50 million tokens in circulation, the inflation actually stops. So there's two kind of questions to solve. Is that one, inflation drops over time, so unless the price of Leo increases proportionately or more, rewards are actually going to decrease in terms of per content reward. Um, but obviously, with inflation dropping and general demand, you probably expect, price to kind of fall in line. But that being said, as time goes on, that second piece is what happens when inflation is zero. So what happens when we hit 50 million Leo in circulation, and all the Leos distributed, and how are rewards essentially going to be earned in terms of tokenization, at least. And that's where I derive system income. So with system income, essentially what happens is the platform generates revenue, and it uses that revenue to buy back the Leo token, and then it distributes that Leo token into a system income rewards pool, or a SERP, is kind of the acronym for it. And that system income rewards pool replaces the inflationary rewards pool. So right now we've got the inflationary rewards pool model, and then we move to the system income rewards pool model, when inflation obviously stops. And, on the way to that point, we're still building, it's not like we're gonna build this platform and just wait until that time comes, because I think it comes in like 2036. That's when the inflation is set to stop. So that's obviously a ways away. But on the way there, what we're going to be doing is building up the system income. But instead of the system income going into this rewards pool, you guys know that it buys the Leo token, and then it puts it in the Leo liquidity pools. So that builds permanent liquidity that can never be removed from those pools. So kind of on the way to the end point, which is system income replaces rewards pool, inflationary rewards. We build up the system income, and we use that system income to obviously create long-term permanent liquidity for the token. So, system income is broken down in the docs in a few different ways. We've got premium, so that's obviously the number one form of system income right now. With a little over 200 premium subscribers, paying $10 a month. So, obviously our goal is to grow that. And then we've got Leo ads. So, we've got the ad platform that we're building, that will replace the Coinzilla ad network that we were using before. So this is going to be a native in-house ad platform, and I can dive into that if you guys have questions. And then creator subscriptions is another piece to that puzzle. We've kind of given it the funny nickname of Only Leos, because it essentially is a similar model to that, allowing people to put private content on the blockchain, and then charge a fee to their subscribers in order to view that content and interact with them in a kind of private format. So we've solved this in a really interesting way. Other platforms like Substack and Patreon, obviously, I think Substack is kind of like the best example of what we're trying to go after here. Substack allows you to launch one of these subscription services where your subscribers pay you every month, and then you have a private feed of content, usually long form blog posts when it comes to Substack. And Substack pays you, I don't know the exact numbers. I think it's something like 10% of a fee is taken, or 5% of a fee is taken, and then the rest goes to the creator. So we've got an interesting solution because we're obviously built on the blockchain, and like I said, my presentation was all about putting everything on chain. That's the entire goal. So with that in mind, private content still goes on the blockchain, and I think that that's a really interesting solution because we're taking something where you have a public distributed ledger, all the data is publicly available, but we're actually creating private content in a public format, which I think is really interesting. So the way we've achieved that is by using the encrypted memos function on the Hive blockchain. So when and from the user perspective, from the interface perspective, it's literally a toggle. You'll toggle between, do I want my thread or do I want my blog to be public or subscriber only? So if you choose public, it works the same way it's working right now. You post something, it goes on the blockchain, anybody can see it. If you choose subscriber only, it actually encrypts whatever you wrote onto the blockchain, and then your subscribers, people who are paying every month, can decrypt what you've written. So only your subscribers can actually decrypt the content that you've written if you choose to make it subscriber only. So I think that that's a really interesting solution because you can still see all the data on chain. Technically, if you were to get censored in some format from a front end perspective, all of your data, all of the information that you've written is actually still on the blockchain. So like, let's say, doomsday scenario, INLEO goes down for whatever reason. The big differentiator from us to like Substack is like, if Substack went down, you'd lose all your content. So like everything you've ever posted on Substack would be gone. If INLEO went down under this doomsday scenario, all your content, even the encrypted subscriber only content, would still be on the chain as encrypted memo content. So then you can just take your memo key to any other interface and you can decrypt that content, or you can even go to a block explorer and decrypt it, directly from there. You can literally run a internal script on your own computer that can decrypt that content by reading it directly from the chain. So, doomsday scenario, even if INLEO didn't exist anymore, both your public and your private content lives on chain and is censorship resistant. So that solves that piece of censorship resistance. And then it also solves what I was getting at, which is monetization. So, tokenization, and I talked about the system income rewards pool versus, an inflationary rewards pool model. The creator subscriptions allow all of you guys to turn your INLEO account and your Hive account into an actual business model where your users are paying you every month. So not only are you earning from the rewards pool, you're actually able to earn in another way. And that's through the creator subscriptions. And then a small fee, we're still working on the fee model, but I'll kind of announce that when it actually goes live. But it's a tiered system where the more subscribers you have, the lower your percent fee will be that the platform charges. So INLEO as a platform charges a small percentage fee on every subscription that you have, and that fee is system income, which buys back the LEO token, and then in the meantime puts it in a permanent liquidity position. And then, like I mentioned, around like the 2030s, like 2036, the system income rewards pool will be activated, and instead of going into liquidity pools, that system income will be used instead of the inflationary rewards pool model.
Yeah, and one thing that some people have asked me is that if they can have their content on INLEO without being on chain. And I mean, of course, these are people who are not used to having everything on chain. and just used to being able to delete tweets or to back back down on things they said or done, etc., etc. So it does bring like you could call it a little bit like a two-edged sword, where yes, of course, it's positive for the crypto industry to have a product like this one, but of course, people are going to be wary of adopting something so transparent, because the industry is so used to being able to hide things or to be mysterious about some stuff. So I do think that this could actually establish some kind of new meta or new trend, where if you are not fully on chain with your socials, then you are not going to be trustworthy at all. And it also brings up the aspect of reputation. Right now, you can just create an X account and try to launch something, and nobody knows if you published a lot or if you used that account for something else, or if you bought that account from someone else and then you just changed names and now you suddenly have 25,000 followers that you didn't earn. So I do think that at one point it's going to be a must to have an INLEO account that it's fully on chain, where you can publish tweets, articles, participate with your community, publish charts, and publish gate kept content. So yeah, I mean we are very very early, so that's also exciting. I'm reading the threadcast right now, and I do see a few questions. I don't know if you want to jump into questions or you want to tell uh, the Lions a little bit more about what's coming in the next few weeks.
Yeah, let's jump into questions. I wanted this AMA to be more focused on creator subscriptions. So the TLDR is that they are in testing right now, and I'm hoping to have them in production by Thursday. So let's dive into questions and kind of get everybody ready for it. So if you want to start reading off some, I'm gathering questions as well, but lead in with the first one you've gotten.
Yes. Oh, Ahmad Mang is asking a question about the system income. So you mean the inflation will accumulate funds even before the 2036 timeframe? I'm not sure I understand that question entirely. But yeah, I mean, inflation will continue to like the Leo token right now has around 40% circulating supply. So the other 60% will continue to be minted over the next 11 years. So I don't know if that answers your question or not, but Vic Van is asking, so with the rewards coming from from the subscription model and normal rewards from articles, we are good to go. Yeah, exactly. It's going to be, so the point of InLeo is basically to provide content creators and brands different ways of monetizing their own brand or their own content. So people can actually choose, like you could be someone who, like, for example, we do use the comparison a lot with OnlyFans, because that's the most popular creator economy in terms of gatekeeping content. And what some creators do there is that they have some sort of teasers or like free samples of the content that people can find behind the paywall. So I'm pretty sure that a lot of people are not going to care about the on-chain rewards, because their aim is to get more subscribers. And to be honest, that's really where the real money is. In order to get on-chain rewards, you need to build a huge brand, and then you need to post content a lot. Whereas if you are already a creator somewhere else that charges you, I don't know, 30% of your earnings, and then you find another platform that just charges you, I don't know, 5%, 2%, whatever, and that that revenue goes to the community, then it will be a no-brainer. So uh checking, is 2036 certain or speculation? It is certain. Bipolar 95, it is certain the inflation will continue up to 2036, and after that there will be no more Leo tokens in existence. Of course, it depends a little bit on the high blocks and all of that, but it's a set year.
It's actually 2056 is when the last Leo will be minted. 2036 is when the system income rewards pool will go live.
Okay.
So the Leo inflation drops, but it kind of drops off a cliff, which is why system incomes turns on in 2036.
Yeah.
Um, so the block rewards, if you go to the docs, you can see this, but the block rewards are 0.208 Leo per block right now, in terms of Hive blocks, and then it drops dramatically every year. And then obviously after 2036, it kind of hits a cliff, which is where system income will kind of will launch, and then they'll run in parallel. Obviously, um, it until 2056, and then the Leo inflationary part of the rewards pool will stop, but the system income rewards pool will obviously continue going forever. So, and that system income rewards pool is driven by the things I mentioned, and then also any other revenue models that we start building into the platform. So, premium Leo ads, creator subscriptions, all these other revenue models that create the system income.
Okay, okay. Now I also have it more clear. I was also a little bit confused apparently. I maybe I didn't get it fully. It
Yeah, it's a
just
lot of dates and at the end of the day, and it's all based on blocks. So similar to like the Bitcoin halvening, like you can roughly predict when it's going to happen, but you don't know the exact, day and time. But it is roughly every 4 years, right? So kind of a similar thing with block timing, because blocks aren't always timed the same, and then over a long period of time, things can skew. But in a rough sense, there is that is the date of when things will happen. Um, Taskmaster mentioned AI. Yeah, Leo AI. I talked about that actually in my presentation as well. But Leo AI, I think is going to be one of the key reasons that a lot of people go premium. I don't think it's the only reason. I think it's just one of them. But I think it's going to allow us to tap into a whole new market of premium subscribers, who are solely focused on the AI features. So it's kind of a whole new um, it's kind of a whole new market that we can tap into. All these people that are paying $20 a month for ChatGPT Plus, can basically pay for Leo Premium and then get many of the same ChatGPT Plus features baked into Leo AI included in their premium subscription.
what I do want to know is, am I going to be able to code side by side with Leo AI? Because I use GPT to help me, or well, maybe now it's just for to do things for me uh, regarding JavaScript and SQL, SQL. So is Leo AI going to be able to handle that?
Yeah, so so there's two pieces to Leo AI. One is the LLM, so the large language model, which is trained which is Llama. So that's Meta's open source AI, and that's obviously just trained in a general sense. So anything you can do with Llama, you can do with Leo AI. And as Meta, I always want to call it Facebook. As Meta improves their Llama model, which is open source, we'll actually be able to upgrade our model along with it. So as the Llama model improves, Leo AI will improve in the general sense as well. So there's the LLM side of Leo AI, and then there's the SLM, or what a lot of people are calling a little bit more of like the kind of singular model, or the localized. I kind of prefer to call it the localized model. Obviously, that gives you the same acronym as the large language model, but having a localized AI that's trained on all of your information in terms of what's on the Hive blockchain. So it's trained on everything that's on the Hive blockchain, down to reputation scores, upvotes, and all the other information that's available publicly on Hive, in addition to all the text-based content. So there's a lot that Leo AI is trained on from a local sense, in addition to everything it's trained on from that LLM sense. So yeah, you can use Leo AI to help you code, because obviously Llama is trained on how to code. So anything you can do with Llama, I think that's just kind of like the answer to all those questions. It's like anything you can do with Llama, you can do with Leo AI. And then you have that additional training set, which is, all the Hive blockchain data.
Nice. Nice. So yeah, definitely. I will be able to cancel GPT and hopefully at one point also cancel Midjourney. It's like, we got rid of cable and now we have seven different streaming services and we found out about AI and now there's like 17 different AIs you need to have to keep doing what you were doing before. Morty, he made it, just finished an investor conference and he's listening on his way home. Nice. Glad to have you here, man. Lucrecia is asking, this is a good question. So would the content be available only on INLEO and not visible on the other front ends? So if you create something on INLEO and you encrypt it so that only your subscribers can see it, on other front ends, it will show just like some encryption code.
Yeah, it'll
And
show in the wallet as a memo.
yeah.
It won't show in your blog feed. And it won't show in your thread, like your comment feed on other UIs. So it'll just show as like an encrypted piece of content. And then obviously on the block explorers, it'll also just show as an encrypted memo. So you can, decrypt that from other UIs. So like, like you as an author can decrypt that. I saw a question from Taskmaster that relates to this. If I can pull it up, let's see. I'm trying to also put the questions on the screen for us, which is a newer thing. All right, I think I got it. But see if I can find this question from Task. Taskmaster said, will we need to use our memo key or will that be handled by the UI? So the way we've done this is actually kind of interesting. We actually have a proxy layer where because the kind of an interesting aspect of this is what if a user stops their subscription, right? We actually have to prevent them from now being able to decrypt the subscription only content. So in order to, we had that problem in addition to a lot of other problems that we needed to solve. So we've created a workaround for that stuff. The other thing being that to launch something like creator subscriptions requires obviously a lot of data. And then we don't want to be sending around memos constantly. Like you don't want to be, when you push out a new thing to your subscribers, you don't want to be sending a new encrypted memo every single time. That would just be kind of annoying. Both from a chain perspective and from a, kind of a user experience perspective. So we've created a really interesting proxy model where when you encrypt content, you're actually encrypting it to one of our accounts. So in INLEO, there's kind of an INLEO proxy account, call it Leo subscriptions, right? So you're actually encrypting it to the Leo subscriptions account. You're sending an encrypted memo to that account specifically. And then on our front end, we are actually then reading who is a subscriber of you from the Leo Cache backend. And then if that user that's signed in is a subscriber of that other user, then the Leo subscriptions account will decrypt the content and then serve it to the user. So what this allows is, I mentioned a few of those, those key problems that we needed to solve. A big one being if someone cancels their subscription, they immediately lose, or at least when their subscription, the 30-day cycle ends, they immediately lose access to all the future private content by that author. Because now Leo subscriptions won't decrypt content for them. So that's how we've kind of solved that. So you actually don't need to use your own memo key, which is kind of interesting. You'll actually just log in with your Hive account with your posting key, like you do regularly. So that's the other problem that we solved is a lot of people don't use their memo key. Actually, if you go around and ask people, I've learned that many people don't even have their memo key, because it's simply just not used very frequently on Hive. So a lot of people don't even have their memo key. And a lot of people only sign in with their posting key for security reasons. So that's another reason why we built this kind of proxy layer. So you'll actually just log in like you do normally with your posting key. And the fact that you're logged in with your Hive account, that specific Hive account, then the Leo subscriptions backend will read that you are a subscriber of say Taskmaster 4450, and then when he puts out an encrypted blog post, for example, it will allow you to decrypt that using the proxy layer. So kind of an interesting, usability standpoint. It also speeds up the UI in general. So I hope that makes sense. But we've built basically in short a proxy layer that handles the encryption decryption of all the content. That being said, the author of content can always decrypt their own memo. So, for example, like if the Leo subscriptions account was lost, and the whole UI went down, obviously like a doomsday scenario, Taskmaster could still go to any block explorer, take his own memo key and decrypt all of his own encrypted private content and like download it and then publish it somewhere else, for example. So that's kind of the goal here is like we're creating censorship resistance because you can at any time as a creator download all of your data directly from the blockchain and go somewhere else if you want. So that's kind of the key to this whole censorship resistance model. Genix said, first AMA I've been able to join in a while, and it's exciting to hear all the progress INLEO's been making. Looking forward to see how creators take advantage of and use subscriptions. Yeah, on Hive, we've all been talking for a very long time about wanting more ways to monetize our accounts, and also wanting to get away from the 7-day payout window. And I think creator subscriptions allows us to do both of those things in a really unique format. So obviously Substack has seen incredible success. The funny example of OnlyFans has seen incredible success. Patreon, obviously very successful for a long time. This subscription model, the users paying creators model, has been working for a long time. So it's really up to, can the creator provide enough value that users feel compelled to subscribe? So this is a big tagline for me. The INLEO team is creating all the tools for you guys to succeed. But it's up to you to use those tools and find a way to succeed. So Taskmaster actually posted a short, like a half an hour before we went live on the AMA, and he was asking his viewers, do you want me to start a subscription service about technology or a subscription service about finance? Which one would you rather see? So, obviously Taskmaster has built a huge brand for himself on Hive. This is the first time he'll be able to actually leverage his branding and monetize himself outside of just the rewards pool. So I think that this is going to be a really interesting new era in terms of earning on Hive. I'm really curious to see like the first creator come out and make like $1,000 a month from creator subscriptions. So I also plan to launch one. I'm a big believer in leading from the front. So, I keep telling you guys, find a way to leverage these tools and be successful with them. So I'll be launching a creator subscription as well. And I'm still kind of working through what I want to do with that. I think a few obvious things that I'm going to do, and you can do, so like I actually responded to Taskmaster's video and I said, you could do both. You could do one or the other, obviously, or you could do both, or you could have two different accounts where you do one on one and one on the other. It's completely up to you as the creator and up to how you communicate that to your audience. I'm planning on doing kind of an all-in-one subscription to obviously you can subscribe to my Cal account. And in that subscription, I'm going to give, some like alpha of what we're building a little bit ahead of time before I would put things to the main feed. So you'll see kind of like earlier designs of new features. I'm also planning on just kind of talking about general, behind the scenes of developing the project. So you'll get more of a kind of BTS look at what we're doing, during the build out of INLEO and all the marketing stuff that we do as well. Some personal stuff, more behind the scenes. I'll also talk about like my trades. So, this ETH Bitcoin trade I've been talking about, I'll give the information about those trades, sooner to my subscriber only feeds. I'm planning on doing a once a week, private AMA. So in addition to this public AMA, I'm planning on doing a private subscriber only AMA where I'll actually do, and this is the first time I've announced this, but you'll be able to do subscriber only threadcasts. So you can have actually a fully encrypted threadcast that's only for your subscribers and it's live. So I'm planning to do that once a week, which will be just a subscriber only AMA. And then I may even do like a private like live stream where you guys can jump in and ask me questions over video. in addition to the Threadcast, obviously. So kind of an interesting, like a private call, private Zoom call type of thing with my subscribers. So I think that there's just so many different ways to leverage this. And my point with how I'm planning to use it is I want to be kind of leading from the front and give you guys an example of what you can do with it. So I'll be playing around with a lot of different things and then, just doing as much as I can. And I hope to see a bunch of you guys doing the same. Um, and then you can also go out to other platforms and look for examples of successful people. What are people on Twitch? I think Twitch is a really good example. Like, what are people on Twitch doing? What are people on Patreon doing? What are people on Substack doing? X also has creator subscriptions now. So what are people on these other platforms doing successfully in terms of private subscriber only groups? And then find ways that you can kind of copy what they're doing and then add your own twist. And obviously it's all on chain. And then we take a much smaller fee, like literally 1/10 of the fee that these other platforms are taking. So, you get a much lower fee in terms of what you earn. So you get to keep more of what you charge your users. And then it's all on the chain. And then it's also it's also paid in crypto, which I think is a huge other point to it. So I'm excited to see how this all shapes up. Um, I was talking to Joel from Dash about this creator subscription model, and he said it was really cool because he obviously lives fully on crypto. That's like his whole thing. And he was on a big news network at some point in the last couple of years, and he was talking about how he lives completely on crypto. He's unbanked himself. So creator subscriptions for someone like Joel is obviously really interesting because he can have a whole new way to monetize himself and earn only in crypto, and he doesn't need to connect a bank account. So you mentioned that like, he's wanted to do like Substack or these other platforms, but you have to connect, with a Web2, TradFi bank account and give them all sorts of KYC information. So obviously with crypto, you don't need to do any of that because it's all on chain. So again, another major benefit of putting it all on the blockchain.
Yeah.
Brando asked, you can go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I'm seeing a lot of questions, well, not questions, comments about how they don't understand certain things or they don't have something clear. So guys, just one clarification. So you are learning the backstory and how things work. Like you won't need to understand how everything works. The UI, the user interface will be extremely clear about how it works, and it will make it as easy as possible for anyone to just use them. And for anyone, like people do not need to know how things work. We are explaining them to you because I mean, you are the hardcore ones, the ones that join the spaces, the ones that care so much about it in Leo that you want to be part of the process. But in the end, the final product will be simple and easy to use for everyone. So if you have any, like if you don't have anything, something's clear, don't worry. Like you don't need to understand how it works in the back end.
Absolutely. This is a good question for you, Eric. Ben asked, do we have numbers about how many creators are out there? So I know you've got numbers on, the monthly active threaders, monthly active content creators, which we define as long form content creators. So I would say, like, what are our kind of combined metrics like for monthly active threaders, because those are still creators, and then monthly active long form content creation.
Yeah, I don't know if he's talking about the like out there, like in different platforms. But I mean, one thing is to be a user and you just publish some stuff and you comment and you like and you subscribe, etc., etc. And the other thing is to actually be called or call yourself a content creator, where your income is basically your content creation or depends on your content creation. So if we're talking about content creators, like serious content creators or self-proclaimed content creators, that would be us like so much fewer people than just users in general. So like for example, X has 500 million, I think. Maybe I'm just making that up. 450, I think. Um, Out of those, I think not even 1% are content creators. So we have to define Do we want users? Do we want content creators? The answer is that INLEO welcomes both, and we have different products for each of them. So if you are just a user, then normal threads are good for you. But if you are a content creator, you will want to use INLEO for your brand building and squeeze as much as possible. Well, squeeze as much value as possible from the platform. So maybe that answers a little bit your question. Mm,
Um, can you give the creator data on InLeo specifically? I don't
yeah.
know if that's what
So
he was asking. I think he may have been asking more generally, but I think that that would be a good thing to cover as well, because it would give us a good idea of, maybe how many people will launch one of these creator subscriptions.
yeah, definitely. So we have three metrics. The monthly active users, which right now, well, the last month in August we had 1,700, and then we had 1,050 short form creators, and then we had 1,230 content creators. So we can assume that a percentage of these content creators, which are the long form content, the ones that you could say put a little bit more effort into what they create, are these 1,200. The other ones, the threads ones, you could call them like not so hardcore users in the sense of content creation, not in the sense of being lions. So yeah, there's possibly 1,200 content creators that could use this subscription model. And then also what I was thinking, Carl, is that so one thing that we have been talking about over the past few years with the Hive core or the Hive witnesses and the Hive stakeholders is that we need to find incentives for normal users to go out and promote Hive. Right now, the rewards model that we have with the inflation and with the reward pool doesn't incentivize promoting your content out there because your rewards come from interactions inside Hive. But if you add the layer of the more people I reach out to, the more potential subscribers I can have, then that changes the meta and adds an additional reward for the existing users of Hive to actually bring more consumers to the blockchain. So I think that's very important for us to push on. And that's going to make a good clip.
Yeah, 100%. Uh, Taskmaster said, how many of you made a short today? That's something crucial to keep doing. Yeah, we definitely need to see more shorts. I've been pretty happy with the growth of shorts. Obviously, it took us a little bit of time to reach stability, but things have been very stable for the last couple of weeks now. So I'm pretty happy with how shorts are doing. But we definitely need to see more. I think it's a really cool and engaging way to make content on the platform. And like I said before it went live, kind of adds a whole new layer of engagement and personality to the platform. So it's going to be a really good way to connect with your audience more. I'm actually talking to the 3Speak team right now about private videos. So I know that they actually have a built-in solution for doing private videos on the 3Speak network. So I just need to talk with them a little bit more about if that's ready, and if it is ready, how we can implement it. And hopefully we can get that rolled out, not at launch for the subscriber only content, but I think shortly thereafter you'll be able to do shorts and long form videos privately to your subscriber base. So once we have that, that'll be obviously very cool. The workaround until that goes live could be, if you want to do videos and you don't want to wait for that, the workaround could be on YouTube. You can actually make unlisted videos. So you could make unlisted videos and then you can share the link so that you get like a private viewing link from YouTube, and then you can share those videos to your subscribers through like a thread or a blog post that you set to subscriber only. And you obviously then it would encrypt the link along with the other content that you put in there. And then it would give your subscribers a way to watch videos privately, but not allow anyone on the platform to watch them. So at launch, it's just going to be threads and blog posts that you'll be able to do subscriber only. But then, like I said, there is a workaround for videos. So, I'll probably, like I said, I've thought about that a little bit because of my AMAs that I want to do. I want to do like private clips and private live AMAs. So I was kind of looking into that a little bit for a workaround until we figure out the 3Speak stuff. Let's see. I've got more questions. Ahmad Manga said, I think subscriber only comments on public threadcasts is better than subscriber only threadcasts. We'll have both. So you'll be able to do subscriber only threadcasts where everybody in the threadcast is subscriber only. And if you're not a subscriber, you won't even actually see it. And then you'll also be able to turn on sub only mode within a threadcast. That's a part of a bigger threadcast update that I have planned on the roadmap. And that Threadcast update will include a lot of different features. If you want to kind of get an idea of where I'm headed with that, go to, like I said, twitch.tv chats and take a look at those. That's where I'm pulling a lot of inspiration from for Threadcasts. So you'll be able to do sub-only mode, which has been a common thing on twitch.tv chats for a very long time. So sub-only mode is coming to public Threadcasts as well, in addition to those subscriber-only Threadcasts. Taskmaster said the key to subscriptions model is to be consistent. If you commit to 2 articles per week, you have to do it. Failure will lose the confidence of your audience. So if you start one, be committed. Yeah, I 100% agree. And this is where kind of capitalism, meritocracy prevails, is that if you start a creator subscription and you obviously don't live up to the promises you've given to your subscriber base, then they're going to start to drop off and people are going to start to cancel their subscriptions. So, that'll be kind of an interesting thing to see play out. And yeah, you do need to be committed. And then also, that kind of reminds me of another feature that's coming with creator subscriptions is the ability to do recurring payments. So we've actually built on the back end, we've built a recurring payment rail for the HBD payments. So as you guys know, with premium right now, you have to manually subscribe to premium every month, or you can subscribe yearly, and then obviously you get it for a whole year. With creator subscriptions coming out, I wanted to finally solve the recurring payments on chain. So we are going to be launching recurring payments with creator subscriptions, and we'll be adding that to premium as well. So shortly after creator subscriptions goes live, we're also going to push recurring payments for premium, the general INLEO premium as well. So you'll be able to just set a once and done, forget it, automatic payment for premium. And the way that works is through recurring transfers on Hive. So you'll actually like approve a fixed frequency of payments, and then you can cancel it at any time as well if you want to. So again, another thing that we're kind of solving from Web 2 and TradFi is that we're not going to make it one of those things where you have to like go digging. I know you guys know and have had this experience where you want to cancel some subscription and you have to like go digging through your email and then find some text in the footer body that's like, 1 pixel large, and you have to, find that text and then click on it. Then you have to give them feedback on why you're canceling. And then you have to call a phone number. And then, it's just this whole rabbit hole of stupidity to cancel a subscription. We're not going to be doing that. So you'll be able to set up recurring payments if you want to. You don't have to. That's another thing, is like a lot of these platforms, require that you have a recurring, subscription with your credit card. And there's no other way around it. Like you can't just do a one-time payment. So we're not doing that. So you can basically check a box if you want to do recurring, and you don't have to check that box. So you can choose to stay manual if you prefer it that way. But if you do go recurring, then after you go recurring, there's just going to be a big cancel button on the premium page or on a creator's subscription page, where you can just hit that button and it's 2 steps and you can cancel. So that's a big thing for me. I obviously have had very annoying experiences trying to cancel certain subscriptions. Ben asked, when will the fancy voting UI be released? We've got that in labs right now. I actually was talking to Eric about it yesterday because we were trying to figure out how to make it work with mobile. But I think we have a pretty cool solution that we implemented. So that will get rolled out sometime this week. It actually may get rolled out at the same time as creator subscriptions, If not, it'll be like a day or two before. So that's in labs, hopefully soon. Vic Van said maybe there'll be an article that explains all of these in more detail, referring to creator subscriptions. Yeah, when creator subs goes live, there's going to be a new section of the docs, and there's going to be a long form blog post from the @Leo Finance account that explains everything in more detail. Like Eric said earlier, this AMA is more for the kind of foundational, behind the scenes macro vision of things. It's not meant to it's not meant to answer every question. Wananda said for the subscriber only threadcast, that'd be cool to have. We also need more payment options for non-hivers to be able to subscribe to our content. Yeah, I agree with that. I was talking to Brian of London at HiveFest about integrating his Lightning Network solution. So I think that will most likely be our next payment option, both for premium and for creator subscriptions. The reason why it'll be next is one, I want to support Brian, and the second reason is his solution is actually really interesting, and we don't have to add much to make it work because it actually converts the Bitcoin from Lightning Network into HBD. So the way I plan on doing this, and I was talking to him in person about it, is you're going to be able to subscribe to like let's just use premium as the example, but you'll be able to do it for the creator subs too. You'll be able to subscribe using Bitcoin, but it will, Brian's backend will convert that Bitcoin into HBD and then send the HBD to the Leo pool account. So it's kind of a little bit of a workaround because we don't have to work on a whole system to accept Bitcoin Lightning. It'll just automatically convert it to HBD for us. And then send it to the Leo pool account. And then our backend is obviously already set up to read that Leo pool account. So there's not much that we have to actually add to make that work. So pretty happy with that. I didn't really know a whole lot about how V for V worked. That's Brian's app. But when he described that to me in person and he kind of showed me how it would work, I realized that we don't really have to do a whole lot on our back end. So Bitcoin Lightning Network payments is coming next via the V for V app. And then after that, we'll work on other things, possibly considering doing Hive. A lot of you guys keep saying do Leo. Taskmaster, I'm sure will be happy to tell you why we shouldn't do Leo from an economic standpoint. So I think there's a lot of reasons why we shouldn't do Leo for that, and we should work on other currencies. So Lightning Network next, and then I'm going to say Hive probably after that, and then third will be the currencies that are available on Leo Dex, starting with Dash, because we're already working on some things with the Dash team. I've got a call with them this week to talk about some of this stuff, but starting with Dash, you'll be able to do other currencies as well. So probably Dash will be the next one after all of those. And you'll be able to subscribe using Dash. And the other thing that we're working on with the Dash team, kind of side note, is I want to make it so that you can do a light account with the Dash Pay wallet. So look out for all that stuff. It's going to be a great way to onboard more users, and also people that will, that's what I was talking to Joel about, is like, he was asking our end goal with INLEO, and I was like, really two things. One, we want more monthly active users, and two, we want more premium subscribers, kind of from a macro standpoint. So, adding the Dash wallet as an option to log in, and then adding Dash as a crypto that you can pay with for premium kind of solves both of those problems. So look out for that.
Nice.
Luis88 said, good morning. What's up, Luis? I remember seeing you in, is it Luis or Lewis? Every time I see your name, I question which way to pronounce it.
I call him Luis, but I don't
That's because
know.
you're from Mexico.
No, but that's because he's from Germany.
I know, I'm just messing with you.
Nah, really no idea.
I think it's Luis. He'll correct us if he's still around. He had some great pictures from HiveFest. If you haven't seen him, you can go to his blog. He captured some good ones of me. I actually, you probably noticed, but my profile picture has changed. Actually, I'm noticing now that it didn't change on INLEO, but it changed everywhere else. So I think I forgot to change it, or maybe I did it and didn't hit save changes or something. So I will fix that shortly. But he took some good picks at Hive Fest and posted them. So check them out. Samuel said over 1,000 monthly active users. Yeah, we actually hit 1,700 in August. So we're stretching and pushing on that goal. We need more creators and engagement. Yeah, we definitely do. Taskmaster will also gladly remind all of us that we need more engagement. Vic Van asked, I wish to watch or hear how Cal represented INLEO at Hive Fest. There's a recording out there, in addition to all the clips getting posted. So I know Sunseeker is working on a bunch of clips, as well as shorts, from my presentation. But then there's also the kind of like 30-minute video that you can go out and find and watch. I'm not sure where that is. I think Eric, you sent me the recording for that, right? We put it on the G Drive. I don't know if we posted the full recording or if we've just been working on the shorts and clips, but I'll talk to Sunseeker after this, or if you're listening right now, we should post the full video from my presentation so that everybody can watch it.
Yeah.
I've got like 15 questions pulled up, so go
Yeah.
through any questions you want, and then I'll kind of rapid fire through a bunch of them.
Now I was just gonna mess around with Taskmaster about how he's talking about not using Leo for payments. But yeah, just go ahead with the rapid fire.
All right, let's do it. Winata said, will the entire content be hidden or to be accessible after payment, or a part of it will be visible like a teaser before a creator can subscribe to it? Well, so the creator is the one that launches the subscription. A consumer or a user is the one that subscribes to the creator, just to have all the terminology straight. But no, the whole piece of content will be encrypted, so you won't be able to see any of it. But a creator could, on their own, share like a snippet. For example, I'm kind of anticipating this. A creator can share like a private blog post, like an encrypted blog post to their subscribers, and then take like the first paragraph and share it in a thread and say, if you want to read the rest of this, click here to join my subscriber base, and then you'll instantly get access to it. So it'll be up to the creator to decide if they want to share snippets or not. Otherwise, no part of the content will be publicly accessible. In theory, we actually, like I said, we have that proxy layer. We actually can change it at some point and say like, okay, the first sentence of everything that is encrypted can actually be publicly viewable. And then it'll just say, unlock to read more. So maybe I'll launch a poll at some point and ask you guys if you want to have it that way.
I actually like that.
Or not. By the way, speaking of polls, we'll be able to do a subscriber only. That won't be at launch, but later down the road, we can do subscriber only polls, for example. But you were saying you like that idea?
Yeah, subscriber only polls. I like that.
Sunseeker said, can we then train Leo AI with information from Hive SQL so it helps the same way other models do? I usually show ChatGPT the tables and then make my questions because ChatGPT doesn't have any Hive SQL information. Yeah, well, technically, and this is kind of cool as well, Leo AI could replace the need for Hive SQL, or not Hive SQL, but the use of like SQL data in some ways, not in all ways. So like Hive SQL obviously is our team heavily uses Hive SQL, like Sunseeker said. She's using it probably on a daily basis. I know Eric uses it on a multi daily basis. So we're heavy users of Hive SQL, but I think for the average user who doesn't, and the average person has no idea how to use SQL, I think Leo AI will offer kind of an interesting insight because you'll be able to do SQL-like queries without knowing how to use SQL. So SQL is a
Yeah, I
programming
like
language,
that.
but
Definitely. Like you would be able to
you'll be
just tell
able
him,
to.
hey, tell me how many users has in Leo this week. And
Sorry,
then
I
you
was
just
getting a
give
phone call. I don't know if I cut out,
the
but
AI
you'll be
the
able to.
names, and that's it.
What was that?
Yeah, so basically you can just tell people, like people can just go on to with Leo AI and tell them, hey, tell me how many users threads had this week. And then,
Exactly.
yeah, The
Yeah.
LLM translates that to a query,
Yep, to a SQL. It can literally just make a table for you. So you can say make a table of everyone who's made a thread in the last 2 hours, and then it'll make a table and it'll say how many threads they made or whatever other data you ask for. So I think, and it won't pulling Hive SQL data will give you kind of that more deeply entrenched analysis, which is what, our team does in a lot of ways. But I think like the average user will be able to do like, kind of more relatively simple asks or requests for data from the chain. So I think that that's going to be super interesting. Kind of a broader point about AI in general is when all these LLM models came out, like if you remember the first day, like when ChatGPT came out, there weren't that many use cases. Like people were like, "Oh, this is so cool," but like, what do we do with it? But now you look and there's like infinite. There's all these different agents. There's all these new models. There's all these new questions and prompts, and I mean, there's literally a whole new like career profession essentially around prompt engineering. So it's another one of those things where I have that tagline that we build the tools and then it's up to you guys to decide how you want to use them. So literally I just expect Leo AI goes live and then we start to see like crazy use cases that I haven't even imagined yet. But yeah, I think kind of simpler queries in terms of like SQL information or just general chain data will be possible with Leo AI, and you'll be able to ask it to put it in table format or whatever. So yeah, it'll be kind of interesting, and maybe there'll be interesting ways to use it in a complementary way with Hive SQL as well. So yeah, it's just really useful to be able to pull on-chain data, and that's why Hive SQL is like so heavily used by our team. In addition to a lot of other data tools. Ahmad Maga said, "Can we appreciate that Cal came on time today?" I'm trying to be better. Um, Bushcraft Bytes said, "When Satoshi's for subscription payments?" I kind of answered that. So we are integrating Brian's V4V app, and we'll be able to do Lightning Bitcoin payments. So that will be fun. Sarah asked, "How was Hive Fest?" I thought you said you won't be attending. I think I always said I was going to be attending. I think I said there was a small chance I'd have to cancel just because of some personal things, but I obviously ended up making it. So it was a lot of fun. Had a really good time. Saw a lot of people I haven't seen in a while. A lot of people that I usually just see once a year at Hive Fest. So yeah, had a great time. Winanda said it feels good to be back again after 2 weeks. I agree. Definitely feels good. Ahmad Manga said creator subscriptions is a way for users to subscribe to each other. Users can write threads. Oh, I think he was just answering Sarah's question. What is a creator sub and how is it different from being premium? Creator subs are user to user or user to creator. Premium is being premium on the whole platform. And I saw a question that actually is related to that. So let me dig up that question. Vic Van said, "Will creator subscriptions be for premium users alone?" And I think someone else asked a similar question where they said, "Will a user have to be premium in order to subscribe to a creator?" So to launch a creator subscription, you have to be premium, but to subscribe to a creator, you don't need to be premium. So that's kind of the nuance of how that works. If you are a creator and you want to launch a subscription service, you have to be premium. If you're a user and you want to subscribe to a creator, it doesn't matter if you're premium or not. So I hope that answers both of those questions. Ahmad Manga said, oh, it's reloading. So the system income will accumulate funds before the 2036 timeframe. Yeah, so up until 2036, which is when the system income rewards pool is turned on, all the system income is buying Leo and then permanently pooling it as permanent liquidity. So many of you guys already know that, but like, for example, the Leo pool premium subscription revenue is buying Leo and Cacao and then pooling it permanently in the Leo Cacao liquidity pool on Maya protocol. So until 2036, all system income will go to that. And then after 2036, that's when things flip over to the system income rewards pool. So then all system income will funnel into the rewards pool, and then be released. So it doesn't accumulate in the rewards pool. It actually accumulates a permanent liquidity position, which is separate, and then it'll just forever have that liquidity, which is really important for the long-term health of the Leo token. Because you can imagine that between now and 2036, I mean, hopefully, if we play our cards right, tens of millions of dollars, or hopefully even hundreds of millions of dollars, will accumulate in system income, and then get permanently deployed in those liquidity pools. And now Leo, for the rest of its lifetime, is going to have these large liquidity positions that are permanent and will never be removed. So Leo will be a highly liquid token for people to go in and out of. So that's obviously the goal behind that. And then a lesser talked about effect of that is that the permanent liquidity positions actually earn fees. So like you guys know about the built-in swap fees, usually 0.35% of every swap is paid to liquidity providers. So because those pool positions are permanent, they actually earn those fees. So the pool position itself is permanently increasing every time someone swaps in that liquidity pool. So another kind of cool effect of that. Vic Van said, how does the payment of the subscription work? HBD, Leo, or Hive? So I mentioned it's going to be HBD to start, very similar to Premium. And then we're going to add Lightning Network with V for V. And then afterwards, we will most likely add Hive after that, and then Dash after that. We may flip-flop the Hive and Dash. We'll see how everything goes with the Dash team. So that's how that's planned. Tessa said, what is the process regarding Leo AI training? Where is it now? And what needs to be done in the next couple of months to get it ready? Yeah, it's trained on all Hive data right now. So it's currently completely up to date and trained in real time. Now we're just making tweaks. So, it's hard to say how long that'll take, because really it's kind of a game of whack-a-mole. Every time we do something, we find two more things that we need to do. So I'm still hoping to have it live by the end of the year. And that includes front end and back end. So right now we're still focused entirely on the back end. And then the front end is going to be a ChatGPT-like interface that if you're premium, you'll get access to. And then that'll be kind of the initial launch. And then afterwards, we're going to work on the Copilot. So, anywhere on the UI, you'll have like a little icon in the corner for Leo AI. And you'll be able to ask it to you'll be able to like write a thread, for example, and say, click a button to create an image based on the text you put in the thread box. And then it'll insert the image into the thread box, for example. So a lot of different cool features like that as well. We already answered that. I don't remember if we answered this. Brando said, will the data of how many subscribers a user has be available in public? Yeah, so you'll be able to see how many subscribers a creator has. That's not going to be there at launch. I'm still kind of thinking about that, but yeah, we are planning on making a section or a page where you can see who's subscribed to who. That's not typical. That's not a typical feature. And I'm thinking about if we should do it at all. And if we do it, I'm thinking about if we should allow people to turn it off, via like a privacy setting and say, I don't want people to know, even though you could look on the blockchain and know who's subscribing to who. There may be certain use cases where people don't want to know or don't want other people to know. That being said, this is crypto. So if you're subscribing to somebody, your payments are going on the blockchain, and anybody can technically look at your payments on the blockchain and see what you're doing. That being said, when we integrate some of these other features like Bitcoin Lightning Network, and some of the other crypto payment methods, in theory, like potentially like Dash or Monero will offer a little bit more privacy. So you may be able to subscribe to people without anybody knowing if you use one of those methods instead of like HBD on chain, where it would obviously tie to your Hive account. So that'll be kind of interesting to see as well, especially if I'm kind of predicting that somebody at some point is going to do like an only Leos, like an actual only Leos. So I don't know, we'll
Yeah.
see. Like I said, we build the tools and then you guys decide what to do with them. Samuel said, I tried Leo Shorts. It's super cool. Glad you like it. Yeah, we got a lot of updates coming for shorts as well. We also finally found the fix for the Android bug. So if you've been Sunseeker obviously knows this. She's the one that sent me the video of it. But if you're on Android mobile and you're scrolling and the videos are all blurred out, we found the solution for it after talking to the 3Speak team. So hopefully we'll have that fix out this week, and then that should be good to go.
The fix is to buy an iPhone.
That's the fix I would like people to take, but I am an Apple Maxi. I already have I don't know if it'll show, but I already have my 16. I'm an Apple Maxi, and I
Nice.
upgrade to the new phone every year, even though there's no difference. I don't know if you guys saw this, but this is the new camera button, and all the Apple
Oh,
executives were on interviews and they refused to call it a button, and it's really funny. Taskmaster said, "Time goes quickly. We're only a few months away from 2025." Yeah, it does. Time is moving. We had the 5-year anniversary of Leo on July 3rd of this year. So can't believe it's been 5 years. But yeah, we're in a very different place than we were 5 years ago, is all I can say. Fred said, "How's Leo Shorts coming along? Is everything fixed? I lost track of progress." Yeah, other than like the Android thing I just mentioned, everything's been working really smooth with Leo Shorts. So if you haven't tried it in a while, I highly recommend giving it a shot. I see like 3 different questions from Ahmad Manga from the start of the Threadcast. So let's just dive in. The first one is a question and a suggestion. What are the limitations for non-premium users when it comes to creator subscriptions? I kind of mentioned that, but if you're premium, if you're a creator, you have to be premium in order to launch a subscription service and have other people subscribe to you. But you don't have to be premium in order to subscribe to a creator. By the way, another point on privacy, you also could make an alt Hive account and subscribe to creators. So there are ways to make it private if you don't want people to know that you're subscribing to someone. Um, Side note. In my opinion, he also said, in my opinion, it'll be a lot better if you allow non-premium users to use the feature, but take a higher percentage from their earnings, like 20%, for example. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Like I said, we're gonna have a tiered system based on how many subscribers you have. So like if you have 1 subscriber, you'll pay a larger percent fee on, your subscriber revenue than if you have, say 100 subscribers. So yeah, I mean, maybe we can add a tier for if you're not premium, but you still want to launch a creator subscription. That's not a horrible idea. So yeah, something we can think about. I'll bookmark that for later. What else you got? Ahmad Manga also said, "Can we set the price we want for creator subscriptions? Will be great if you can do 1 Hive or 1 HBD for people to support you without feeling like they lost anything." Yeah, that's a good question. So, the way it works right now, we actually, in theory, the way we've built the backend, you can charge any amount that you want. You could charge, 1 Hive, or you could charge 1 million Hive for a creator subscription on the back end. But the way I think we're going to launch it, at least what we've got planned for the initial launch, is 3 payment options: $5 a month, $10 a month, or $20 a month. So that's currently the rollout plan, is to have those 3 different options that you can choose from as a creator launching the subscription service, and then you will be able to change it. You will be able to change that over time if you want as well, and then it'll just notify everyone who's subscribed to you that it's going to increase in price the next month, and they would either have to cancel their recurring and then change it, or take action otherwise. Mod Manga said, question regarding Leo AI. Does Leo AI consider the content of a rethreaded post while reading a rethread? Asking because that context most of the time is essential for the thread to make sense. But on Hive, it's just a link. I'm thinking it'll be great if Leo AI saw the content of the rethread as context for the current thread so it trains itself on Hive better. Well, no, it will just read it as a link, but then, the Llama model is smart enough to say to go to that link and know what the content of the link is as well. So Kind of would be my answer to that question. It's kind of trained on that information, not directly, but by proxy, indirectly trained on that. I think I covered all your questions from earlier. But yeah, those are some good questions. Eric, I've finished all the questions I had bookmarked, but I'm like 15 minutes behind on the threadcast. So I don't know if you saw any that I that I haven't seen yet, but I'm gonna go through it now.
Yeah, I was scrolling, but I didn't find questions. They are more like comments.
Cool.
Well, I found one. So, Big Van, can one subscribe for content? Maybe like subscribe for threads or shorts or long videos or anything at all? Can it be possible? I think he's asking if you can just subscribe to something specific.
Interesting question. No, you just subscribe to the author, and then
Yeah,
whatever the author makes is what they make. So, a
yeah,
creator may not make long form blog posts, so they may only make threads, but they still could have a subscription option, and then you would just get access to those threads. And you obviously would subscribe to them knowing that that's all that they do.
yeah, yeah. Makes sense. Also, imagine having tiers for different kind of. No, 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 no. But yeah, that's from the last 15 minutes. That's the only question.
Sweet. Um, yeah, I'm just sending out all my upvotes. Task said 2036. Do you know how old I'll be? 12 years older than I am now. That's pretty funny. The latest feed is locked up. Is it really? Let's see if I can open it. I made a promise to Eric. Oh, you're right. Get that fixed. I told Eric I wouldn't be keeping my dev chats open while we were live. Because I didn't want to be distracted during the AMA. But yeah, I'll get that fixed right now. But yeah, I mean, if we're caught up with questions, so Eric and I put out a thread and a video talking about this as well before we went live. But I am, my goal with the AMA is to make it a little bit more fast paced, a little bit more high energy, not as drawn out. So we went for an hour and a half. We were trying to go for only an hour. So if we're caught up with questions, then it's a good time to jump off. I did see Taskmaster said another service added to Leo Premium. Keep building the value of premium. Yeah, referring to the fact that you have to be premium in order to launch a subscription service. Yeah, that is the goal, is just keep adding features to premium, keep bundling everything together. You look at like Adobe and Microsoft, and they've done a really good job of kind of assimilating a ton of features and bundling it all into one service. And that is really kind of the future of software as a service in my opinion. So bundling things is a really good idea. So we're going to continue to bundle more and more value layers into being premium. And as we do that, I hope to see the premium subscriber base grow. Vic Fan said, more water for you. Take a sip. That's funny. I think we're caught up. I went through the last 15 minutes as well.
Rapid firing.
Yep. Vic Fan said, would Leo AI watch a short and summarize it for a user without the user necessarily having to watch it? So yeah, so kind of an interesting question, because Taskmaster Taskmaster has done something really interesting with might possibly. Shoot. Oh, we're still good. Taskmaster's done something interesting with might possibly's help, creating ChatGPT powered transcripts beneath all of their beneath all of Taskmaster's shorts. So it actually like or it doesn't summarize, but it creates a transcript of his short, everything he said in it, and then it makes a thread and posts it as a reply to the short, because Leo AI actually can't listen to videos. So the short answer is no, because Leo AI can't listen to videos. But the longer answer is, technically, for Taskmaster's videos, Leo AI is trained on those. So you could say summarize Taskmaster's latest short, and it will be able to do that for you because it'll have access to that transcript. And then might possibly actually DM me because we had a little conversation on Threads. I do want to look into adding this at the UI layer, adding the ability for you guys to do transcripts. So we may do it. I'm going to talk to Mike possibly about how to do this exactly, but we may add it as another, speaking of the last question about premium and adding more features to it. We may do it as a premium feature where if you are premium, then you can tick a box and have all of your shorts automatically transcribed and have a thread posted as a reply to the short with the transcription in it, but only if you're premium. And one of the reasons, two reasons to gatekeep that behind premium. One is because it adds more value to being premium. Obviously, gives an exclusive feature to you guys who are premium. And the second reason is that every time you do a transcript, it actually has a cost. So there is a cost to using AI in general, and that includes the transcript feature. So if we do end up integrating it, it will likely be behind the premium paywall for those two reasons. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good place to end it. So Eric mentioned that we've got we are going to have Chain Chatter back tomorrow at noon Eastern. The guest will be to be announced later today. I'll put up the X Spaces link. And then you guys can set a reminder and be in the Threadcast tomorrow at noon Eastern. I'll post a bunch of reminders about it on Threads as well. I am having the devs look at the latest feed right now, so probably within the next 5 minutes, everything will be back to normal. So other than that, Eric, any closing words?
No, basically just thank you guys. This was a very attended AMA, so thank you guys for coming. We did start on time. We'll aim to have a 1 hour AMA to make it more dynamic and more and we're trying to make it more entertaining. So thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, we are going to try to keep it more close to an hour in the future. Obviously, if we get a lot of good questions like we did today, and I know you guys have been pent up because it's been 2 weeks as well, but we'll try to keep it to an hour. But if we go a little bit over, that's fine. But yeah, like Eric mentioned, the goal is a little bit more high energy, high impact, fast paced. Keep things interesting. Don't have a lot of downtime, especially now that we're doing so many shows each week. So. That is the goal going forward. And yes, Taskmaster, we will be doing a short market talk at the beginning of each AMA, partly because it gives me time to set up all the streams, and partly because I think it's good for the external audience that could potentially be out there and care about more than just what's happening in the LeoVerse. But that's all I got. Thanks, Eric, for joining today. Mitch is out of town today, and he's also out of town next Tuesday. He DM'd me, so it will be me and Eric this week and next week. And then I think Mitch will be back the week after that. But we will still maintain this kind of faster paced format. So thanks everybody for coming, and we'll see you tomorrow for Chain Chatter.